Good afternoon, everyone. Kerry McElroy here. And no, it's not an episode of This Old House. No, I'm actually in my basement, my 1926 basement, doing lower body workout with you today. So I have to admit, full disclosure, I tried to do this outside on my porch, but it was just a little bit too cold. So even with a sweatshirt on, I just couldn't hack it. I kept trying to tell myself it's like track. I used to coach track and you were outside at this time, but whew, it's just a little bit too cold. So at any rate, so you need a few things for this workout. We're going to concentrate on legs. We're going to concentrate a little bit of core. We're going to concentrate on balance, a couple of things that we're going to do. So you need a few implements, and I will walk you through it. We've got lots of options as well as always. So again, it's all about just moving. That's the key. I know people have been at home for coming up on 3 weeks now, and I really want to thank all of the instructors who have played a major role in presenting you these little 20-minute vignettes on all kinds of things: upper body, HIIT, Tabata, yoga, chair yoga, Zumba, rhythm and movement. Everybody's jumped in and done something, and I know that the Fall River YMCA and all of the YMCAs in our association are so grateful to all the instructors who have tried to carve out time at home to make these workouts. So again, I thank you too from the bottom of my heart. And the nice thing about these videos too is that they're forever available for you. So unlike a class where you come to class and do a spin class or a Tabata class or a training with me or what have you, we're not videotaping that. So here it is. If you missed any of the workouts they're all posted online on schedules, virtual schedules. You can just click on the Fall River YMCA, or actually I think it's the YMCA now, Southcoast YMCA Facebook page, and you can see all of the workouts from any of the instructors in any of the 6 Ys that they're participating in making workouts. So again, you have access to these for a long time. You can just keep them in your archives. So how cool is that too? One positive piece to all of this, right? All right, so without further ado, lower body workout. So you need a couple of things. So now I might have to move the camera, so I hope I don't make anybody dizzy, but again, I'm here with it perched on my washing machine and dryer. So the good news for me is I can get my laundry done while I'm doing this workout, because you always got to maximize your time, right? So I might have to move the camera back and forth just a little bit, so bear with me. So I'm going to turn it, tip it just a little bit here. And what you need for today is a resistance ball, if you have one. I've got a ballast ball here. This one's got some sand in it. But if you have just a regular workout ball, resistance ball at home, that's perfectly fine. That's all you're going to need. The other thing is I'm going to use my body pump plates, which I used for one of the last workouts I did. So I like them because they're plates, but they function because they've got this piece in the center here. You can use them as a dumbbell. Okay, so I'm going to use my 10-pound plate, and I'm going to use, you need some smaller weights too. So these are 5-pounders, because we're going to do some side raises along with calf raises and some transitional movements. So if you have some light dumbbells or light plates or light cans, soup cans, whatever you want to do, whatever you have at home, just move. That's the key. Okay? All right, so the last thing is you do need something for a little bit of balance. I'm going to use this beautiful broom that I had in my cellar because we're going to be doing some leg swings at some point. If you could use a chair, you can use a wall, or I can use my washing machine, whatever helps you stabilize yourself. I'm just going to keep this broom off to the side just for a little bit of balance later. So kind of have things like that you'll need as we get moving. And again, you can always stop the video, grab what you need, and come back. So another boon of doing videos, not a live class. Okay, see, there's always positivity, right? All right, so we're going to start off with kettlebell swings and jumping jacks. And it goes without saying, as always, that you must warm up. So if you can have a treadmill at home, or you have a bike, you can walk around outside or do something, it doesn't really matter. Just find a way to get yourself to like 75%, 80% of your heart rate max if you have a heart rate monitor on, or you can just, you can feel yourself getting a little bit warm. That's where you want to start this workout. So we don't want to just jump in. Now, I have built in some warm up here, and just so you know, I'm only going to go over these things once. So I feel like I'm teaching, right? Talking to my high school kids. I'm only going over this once. Just kidding. I go over things 46 times with them. But anyway, what you need to do is you can either make them in rounds of 3, you can count to 10 or 12 for reps, you can count to 30 seconds, whatever it is you want to do once I show you all of these particular moves, okay? All right, so we're going to start with our heaviest dumbbell or a kettlebell, whatever it is that you have, and we're going to replicate kettlebell swings. If you don't have a kettlebell, if you do have a kettlebell, then good, you're good to go, okay? So let's grab that heavy plate. And again, hopefully you can see me from the side here. Actually, let me start from the front. So I'm going to hold it like a dumbbell, okay? And I'm going to get my feet. You can't see my feet, but I don't think there's going to be a way for you to see everything here. So my feet are just about hip width apart, and I'm going to take the implement, the kettlebell, the dumbbell, what have you. I'm going to squat and pop my hips and push that implement forward, okay? And again, my clients hear me say this all the time, pop the hips. Pop the hips. You can't just stand here and swing the implement, okay? Plate or kettlebell, what have you, you're going to hurt your low back. So you want to squat and stand up to the heels. Squat, stand up to the heels. Now you don't have to lift this real high. Just lift it to shoulder width is fine. This is real transitional movement, and you can switch hands. So again, squat, pop the hips, drive the heels into the ground. Here's the side view. You guys are working me here. I have to say, I did choose lower body today. I could have done upper body, but Steph did that yesterday, so I chose lower body, so I have no one to blame but myself, right? Okay, so there's the first one. Second one is we're going to do jumping jacks into squats. So the one thing I forgot to tell you is you should probably have a mat. So I'm on my mat. It's kind of tough to see, but let me just turn the camera just a little bit. Sorry, gang. There we go. So you can see my feet. So if you're on your mat, you want to be kind of just outside your mat. We're going to jump out, jump back in, squat. Jump out, jump back in, squat. Now you can make it a full jumping jack if you want. I'm not a big jumping jack fan. They hurt my shoulders a little bit. But you can simply jump out, jump in with your hands on your hips. You can jump out, jump back in, have your hands in front. You can seal jack, whatever, just get the squat in. Nice and soft, getting your heart rate up. Beautiful. So whatever you want to do here, the key is to get that heart rate up, okay? Just going to keep moving the camera, sorry. Whoops. So, my apologies on the camera. Okay. So, and now I'm crooked. Oh my God. Take 3, right? That's all good, right? I don't have to be perfect. And while I'm on that topic, I think I will say that there's a point, and I tell my clients this all the time, you know who you are. There's a point at which we really have had a chance during this quarantine to think about what's important to us. And oftentimes it's to take off the table being perfect, right? Whatever it is that you can do, to move, to be with families, to read, to think about your job, your home life, what you eat. Oh God, there's a whole video in and of itself, right? But just to think about what's important to you and what is important to you, and are you living that in congruence with what's important to you? Because stress really begins when we say what's important to us and we live a totally different life. Okay, so that's a little commercial break for you. Okay, but back to lower body. So think about that. So now I'm going to work on some squats, and it's tough for you to see my legs, but let's try this again. Okay, so now we're going to use our mat just to keep the width here. This is going to be a squat to a wide squat to a lunge. Okay, so I'm going to get my feet right to the edge of my mat. Unless you are really on the shorter side, you have a short leg base, you probably want to be right to the edges of your mat. So I squat, I step out wide, I squat, I come back to the edges of my mat, I squat, I step out wide, and then I come back for a nice lunge. Okay, now we're going to go around again. So it's a medium squat. My knees are right over my big toes. I stand up just a little bit. I wide squat off the mat. I come back to center. I wide squat off the other side, so I'm getting inner thighs here. I back to squat, come up and get the other leg in for the lunge. Okay, here's the side view, just in case you need to see it. Squat, just for the sake of the lunge. Wide squat, squat, wide squat, and stepping back for that lunge. 90-degree angle with both legs, okay? So you want to make sure you're coming up in the front heel and the rear toe, okay? So combinations of squats, wide squats, and lunges. And again, you can do those for 10 to 12 sets, 30 seconds, whatever it is that you need to do, okay? And again, I'm just going to show you all the things. You can put them together in groups of however long you want to do these for. You can do this whole round once, then do the whole round again, then do the whole round the third time. That's fine. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Again, just getting big muscles in first. Then I'm going to work, if you notice, I've got quads. Then we're going to do inner thighs. Then we're going to do hamstrings. Then we're going to do calves. Okay, so don't ever start with calves, because calves are secondary movers for the big muscles like the quads. Always start with the quads and hamstrings and inner thighs first. Okay, just to get until you're warm. Okay, you never want to pull an inner thigh. Okay, so what's next? We're going to grab our trusty broom. Whoops. Hopefully you can see me here. Okay, so taking your broom, probably bring it behind you just a little bit so that it's behind my legs. And I'm just going to swing my leg to open up my hip. Now, don't lift your leg so high that you hurt your low back or you have sciatica problems or what have you. You're just literally pointing your toe and swinging like a nice little pendulum. Hold the broom just for a little bit of balance. Just opening up the hip. Really kind of, because we're going to do lots of different things here, many different motions. And plop it down. Let's just stretch a little bit. Other side, or a chair, whatever it is. You don't have to use a broom, like I said. So bring the broom behind the leg that you're going to be standing on, and then just swing that leg in front of you. It's not a twist. Keep your hips facing me. Just opening and swinging. Kind of getting the outer hip, inner thigh just a little bit. You can even touch a little bit. Now, if this is too much for you, you can just step out, step in, step out, step in. Just open up the hip a little bit. Some of you might want to lift the leg and just open just a little bit, hanging on, and you can get the other side too. So it's a little bit bar, right? You're teaching bar, which I don't teach, but most of you already have done that at some point in your life. So we're just trying to open up the hips a little bit, get the hip flexors ready, get the legs ready to move in many different directions. Okay, so now we've done quads and a little bit of glutes. Now we want to get to wide squats. So this is not going to be easy, but wide squats are going to challenge the glutes, quads and inner thighs. Okay, so you're going to feel it, quads, a little bit of glutes because it's a squat, and inner thighs. Okay, just going to grab a quick sip of water. Now here you can also grab a heavy plate or dumbbell if you'd like to, just to make it a little bit tougher. Not necessary, it's certainly balance is enough, but I'm going to fix this camera one more time so you can really see my legs here. I think it's important, okay? I really want you to see my feet. Oops. Okay, hopefully you can see them. Okay, there we go. So if you want it, let me get that plate again in this old house. So I'm going to use my mat as a guide and probably get my heels just slightly off the mat here, or maybe just slightly wider than my hip base, so my heels just slightly wider than my hip base. Look how I've turned my toes out in a plie, okay? Now I can hold this in the center right here just to create a little bit more of a pull through the inner thighs, if you want. And by pull, I don't mean a bad pull, but just a little bit of a feel, an engagement of the inner thighs. So we stand up through the heels. I'm going to get rid of that so you can see now. So knees out toward the side, stand up through the heels. So it is a squat. You're going to feel the glutes engage. You're going to feel the quads a little bit. You feel the outside of my quads. And you're also working the inner thighs as you stand up through the heels. Now, don't go out so far that you feel things pulling. You really just want to come out till you feel the inner thigh engage a little bit. Stand up through the heels, not the toes yet. Okay, we're going to readjust the legs. Add the toes in a minute and readjust the legs. Okay? Use your hands for balance. You can even go back to the broom if you need to for balance on this one. Lift the chest just a little bit as you're coming down. You don't want to bend forward. So this is a squat where you're going to be a little bit more upright. Okay? Beautiful. And I want you to feel it in the back. So if you're feeling the back, get a little bit more upright. You might have been hunched forward too much. Okay? Actually, let's try the side view just so you can see it. Okay? So look at how I'm a little bit more upright than a regular squat. Okay? All right, now we're going to make it a little bit tougher if you so choose by bringing our heels in just a little bit. My heels were here last time. I'm going to bring them in just a little bit so that they're just probably right under my hips, maybe slightly wider, not as wide as they were last time. We're going to turn the toes out into a plie again, and you're going to come up onto the toes and give me that same squat. So now, why do we bring the heels closer? Because we don't want to strain the knees, okay? So when we're on our toes, we want to bring the heels a little closer. Even though the heels aren't on the ground, we still want to have the heels closer. So our knees are tracking out toward our toes. You're really going to feel the quads here. But there's lots of balance. You're going to feel the calves a little bit, and you're going to feel the inner thighs. So we're warming up here. We're getting the inner thighs and warming up to get the calves in a couple of minutes. Woo. Awesome. This is not an easy one. So you're on your toes. I'm not bringing my heels down. I'm staying on my toes the whole time here. And again, it's a little bit more upright. Beautiful. I almost wish I'd taken my sweatshirt off. I'm warm now. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to do is now we're going to add a little bit of shoulders now to that same. We're going to keep building on that plie squat. So I want you to grab your light plates or light weights, and we're going to get to that same position again, where our heels are just about maybe slightly wider than our hips. We're going to turn our toes out. I'm sorry you can't see my feet. I just don't want to keep moving the camera and driving you nuts. And you've got 2 light plates here to add some side raises to this to make it a little bit more balanced. So heels slightly wider than hips, toes turned out. Come on down for the squat on the heels. Come on up to the toes and lift to the side. Okay, so now you get some real transitional movement here, and lots of balance. So upright just a little bit. You don't want to bend forward. You're going to stay upright. So heels for the squat, toes come on up, and arms come on up. Okay, so this is a calf raise to a shoulder raise. Isn't that cool? So make sure that your plates are no higher than your shoulders. Feeling the traps moving, feel the calves moving, feel the quads moving. And again, how many times you do this is completely up to you. Awesome. All right, last thing we're going to do is we're going to grab that ball and just work on some bridges and getting the hamstrings in. So I'm going to turn this so you can see me a little bit more here. A little bit down a little bit. Okay. Okay, so you're going to take that ball, last thing, a little bit of a stretch. So you're going to pop on to, and I think I did this last week with Jen Hager when we did our ball workout. You're going to lay back, placing your calves to your ankles on the ball. If you can see me. And then hands to the ground, head to the ground, lift up for the bridge. And if the bridge is all that you can do, that's perfectly fine. If you can actually pull the ball towards you and feel hamstrings, even better. So now we can really work the hamstrings in a nice inward curling motion. Use your hands for leverage here, okay? And again, how I was making this look tougher than it is. Keep the hips in the air, so maintain the bridge while you pull that ball toward you, okay? All right, so that's my lower body workout. If you want to, you should definitely get some stretching in. I'm just gonna be in a nice lunge position, pushing forward, stretching that hip flexor, maybe lifting the arms just a little bit, pushing onto that front heel. Let's switch while I'm down here. And again, lifting, stretching forward, feeling the hip flexor. You can, while you're down here, get a leg out in front. Nice hamstring stretch. Other hamstring. You can also get some calves in, stretch back. I'll do it to the side here. Can you see me? Okay. And the other side. All right, I wish you all a nice day. And again, stay safe, stay healthy, stay home. This is Kerry McElroy. This has been Lower Body Workout. Have a great day, everybody.